Welcome back to the final installment of the Visiting Teaching Toolkit. I hope you brought your boxing gloves because today we're going to knock down the final 3 barriers that are stopping you from becoming a great visiting teacher. But before we get to that, let's go over what we learned last week. By this point, you should have a good, meaningful lesson prepared for when you go out visiting next month. You also know that if your sister won't let you in, there are still things you can do to let her know you care. By the end of this video, you will have all the skills you need to become a world-class visiting teacher. We're going to do a quick review to go over everything that we've learned, and we'll also answer a few questions that have been submitted to us over the course of this toolkit. I will also tell you what you can expect next from us. But first, let's jump into our next 3 barriers. Barrier 6. I stink at reporting. For about 3 months, I was that person trying to gather visiting teaching numbers and reports at the end of the month. This step is as a favor to your frazzled leaders, so please bear with me. I think it's important to first step back and realize that the idea of reporting and accountability is very important to the church. Whether it's meticulous temple records or letting our mission leaders know how many appointments we had with a member present, we should be pretty much used to the idea by now. But we don't do it. I'm going to tell you 8 words that will make this so much easier for everybody involved. Type these words into your phone right now and save them as a draft that you can send later. We did our visiting teaching. Let's talk Sunday. I just typed that into my phone and it took me 14 seconds. And I'm wearing my boxing gloves. If you send this right when you walk out of the final appointment, then you've got nothing to worry about. Your leader will hopefully find you on Sunday to check on any important details that you may have. Leaders, like parents, shouldn't pick favorites, but if you behave like this, you will definitely be their favorite. So, who do you send this to? In the top right corner of your assignment is your district supervisor. That is who you should get all of your numbers to and who you should send the text message to. You can also call that number if you'd rather just tell them how it went right away. And that completely obliterates Barrier 6. Barrier 7. Why should I visit teach when I'm not being visit taught? Yes, this was actually said to me recently, and my first response was, do your duty, regardless of what your visiting teacher is doing. After a little time, however, I've realized there is something you can do about that. Invite your visiting teacher over. I know another sister that did just that. She said to her visiting teacher, I've missed your spirit in our home. Could you come for a visit this Thursday evening? They had a terrific visit, and although they still struggle getting out every month, they do have a friendship that they check in frequently and attend activities together. Without that invite, it would have been more of the same. However, I still stand by my first response as well. Do your duty regardless of what your visiting teacher is doing. Barrier 8. The marathon. Sure, you can get motivated for 1 month, or maybe even 2 or 3, but how do you stay consistent month after month and year after year? How do you stay an excellent visiting teacher? First of all, don't get discouraged. There may be times that you're not perfect, and maybe even a month that you miss, but that doesn't mean you should just throw in the towel and walk away. Just try to be steady and be consistent. If you get stuck in a rut, try to revisit this toolkit from time to time. Eventually, what we talked about in the second video will happen to you. As you employ the skills you learned from this toolkit, you will be converted to the process and reasons of visiting teaching, and will be motivated to go and do it. Just give it some time. And there you go. You have tackled all 8 barriers to visiting teaching. Wow, you have come a long way. Think about it. You now have the knowledge to become a world-class visiting teacher. Now, the trick is applying what you know. Just to make sure that you remember what you've learned here, we have a checklist of some of the highlights of the toolkit, which I will recap here quickly. To get on the path to success, you need to first remember your assignment. Take a picture of it with your phone and keep it in there if possible. Next, you need to put your highest priority on meeting your companion, then on meeting your sisters. Try to get an appointment right away, even with a stop-by visit if necessary. Don't forget the baked bribe. Always set your next appointment at your current appointment. Try connecting with your sisters early in the month, and if you can't get in, still leave something with them to let them know you care. Report to your leaders right after you finish your last visit, even if it is just through text message. And review these principles from time to time until you get in the right habits that will help you excel at the month after month marathon. It feels good to be here, doesn't it? Your homework for this week are to type that "We did our visiting teaching" message into your phone and invite your visiting teachers over. It doesn't get any easier than that. Along the way, I did receive a few questions that I'm happy to answer now. Anonymous. My companion doesn't get along with one of our sisters. What do I do? Oftentimes, I recommend that as long as there's no serious history there, then just encourage your companion or yourself, if you happen to find that you don't get along with one of your sisters, to just try visiting them for 3 or 4 months. Often, when you are serving someone, you grow to love them. If it doesn't get any better, encourage your companion to share her concerns with your leader. They will be able to help you out with further counsel or change an assignment. Sister Edwards asks, my family has some unusual circumstances for our visit. Particularly, they want to meet in public places instead of their home. How should I handle that? I think it is important to accommodate your sister's requests, as long as they are not too unreasonable. Sure, it may not be traditional to meet at the park or a church instead of their homes, but I figure that we as visiting teachers are there to serve them, and small gestures and accommodations like these can go a long way in showing how much we care. Looks like we have time for one more. Sister Miner asks, how do I ask my leader for a change in assignment? Mine just isn't working out. I can testify that assigning visiting teaching is an inspired process. However, leaders do not have all the information about every family in the ward. If there is a serious scheduling conflict or another reason you feel like you need to make a change, then just ask your leader for a couple of minutes and share your concerns. It doesn't need to be a big formal meeting, and it doesn't need to be a huge deal. She has faced this before and will again. Once you tell her, please also be patient while she works on a new assignment. She's got a lot on her plate. Thank you again for being part of this journey with me. If it's been helpful for you and you want to continue with us, you're probably wondering, what's next? For everyone that completed this Ringbinder Guide to Not Stinking at Visiting Teaching Toolkit, we're going to offer you a special one-time only deal for the Ringbinder Starter Kit. Why do you need this? Well, Ringbinder is more than just advice or great ideas. We are an online community that is trying to make the world better by strengthening the influence of the good people in it. Ringbinder provides a community where individuals can encourage and lift each other while working on specific skills or goals they may have been struggling with. Every 4 to 6 weeks, we work on a new challenge together. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes spiritual, sometimes related to marriage and the family. The gospel is pretty broad, so we try to be too. The Ringbinder Starter Kit includes 1 Ringbinder ring, an ebook, 1 free toolkit of your choice, and text message and email Ringbinder reminders. We are also adding engraving to your Ringbinder ring, so you can engrave your promise to yourself on the inside of your ring. Normally, this package will be offered for $79.99, but if you sign up in the next 2 weeks, you can have it all for $25. That's nearly 70% off. Again, 70% off, but you have to sign up in the next 2 weeks. I hope you have enjoyed this series and that you will continue with me. As always, your feedback is welcome. This is Sister Godfrey, and I want to thank you once again for joining us on this journey and remind you that the power to succeed is in your hands.